What's up, friends of the good mood? This is Manni and welcome to the Ao Guang Dragon Robot review right here from the live server, fully maxed with max damage module and last stand and Scourge on it. It's the one that has the 80% damage resistance while flying and therefore one of the best robots of the Dragon Pack for sure, and definitely also on the battlefield in general. Now, how much you can do with it, I'm going to show you in this video, starting with Beacon Rush a few rounds first, and then Free for All later, and seeing how it does there, okay? And as usual, guys, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing it now, and hit that notification bell as well. Now, one thing, before we go too deep into it, I want to show you a very weird thing, and I need you guys' help to see what happened here. I'm going backwards a little to the beginning. You see here, I'm attacking the Hize. The Hize has full HP, okay? From the Hize, I switch to the Raven, and keep damaging him when the Hize gets in cover. Now, I switch back to the Hize when he comes back in cover. You see he's got 1/3 of his HP still, and then, boom! What? Suddenly he insta-died, and my Scourge was it. What happened there? I don't know, I've seen things like that happen a few times already. It's a very weird occurrence, and if you guys have any idea what happened there, please tell me in the comments, because this is such a really weird thing, and it just keeps happening once in a while. And I don't know what exactly causes this issue. So let me know in the comments if you have any idea, and if you guys are interested too, then read the comments and see what other people are saying. But anyways, let's keep going right here with the Ao Guang, ladies and gentlemen. 80% damage resistance, that is 720,000 HP without any armor modules, just, you know, damage modules installed in the moment of your flight. So you can absorb up to 720,000 HP, which is even more than the Falcon does. But of course, when you're landing, you're vulnerable again, so it's only during the duration of flight, obviously, right? So from here, from Dreadnought up there, this guy down there is trying to do everything he can with counter-healing damage and whatnot, but it wasn't enough. The 3 Scourges are dealing a lot of damage, and the built-in rockets that you send flying along while shooting, they also deal quite some damage, right? Something that you should not underestimate. It's a good 30,000, maybe even 40,000 damage or so. At Mark II level 12, maybe even 50,000 damage, something like that, that you will do over the course of your flight. Here, lockdown, 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 that's because of the Scourge. Unfortunately, the Scourge has the lockdown problem, and if stealth bots are the only robots jumping in, then you're gonna have a hard time with your Scourge, right? So, over there is going to be... Wait, what am I doing? Oh, I remember now. I'm attacking these guys right here, and a Natasha spawns to my left. Starts attacking me, and I will retreat for a second here, and then come at it with everything I've got. So let's see what we can do. We only have 39,000 HP right now, so that's not really much of HP. Basically, in general, the HP on the Ao Guang isn't really that good, right? It's more the resistance that makes it so good then. It's because you only take 1/5 of the damage, right? But yeah, I was able to do some damage to the Natasha, but I was unable to kill it, right? But what you can do with the resistance, for example, on the Ao Guang, since this is a review and I want to give you all the possible uses for this robot, you can fly over here on, you know, even on open maps like Canyon, where a lot of snipers are coming at you. You can just fly right here and tank all the damage that they have. You're going to tank it, and you take the beacon away, right? I was even flying high enough so I can capture the beacon at the same time. And now, of course, I get killed very fast. But look, we have gotten the beacon. We can spawn here now and lock down the map pretty much for him, right? Or a different scenario right here. We're starting on Valley. A hover is covering in. Usually, the hover is one of the first to be arriving on that beacon. And having a hard time, you know, staying alive, even counter-healing the damage. But it was too much damage coming in, and he was unable to capture that beacon. So, Strider would have been there already. Strider would have probably captured the beacon, but, yeah, still, you can fly up there, you fly over obstacles, and you do a lot of damage. Now, I was very annoyed when this happened right here, because I thought I wanted to make the best gameplay review for this robot here, and stay alive. And then somehow this guy sneaks around the whole map and just attacks me from behind, as if there's nothing more important to do, but to attack this guy that sneaks around the corner up there. If he had gone for the beacon, I wouldn't even have known he was there, and he would have been able to capture our beacon, right? But he gave his position away by firing into my back, of course dealing damage to me, but at the same time getting himself killed as well, right? If I was him, I would have kept dashing forward and captured the beacon and then started attacking. because then I could have spawned there, right? But anyways, we're down to 45,000 HP, but with a resistance of 80%, that Raven really doesn't stand a chance. And not only because the additional rockets are dealing damage, but also because the Scourge is so devastating to enemies. It's crazy. You'd be surprised to see sometimes how much damage the Scourge does. And there's going to be a review coming for the Calamity, the heavy version of Scourge, and I must say that I'm not sure if there is so much damage difference from the Calamity to the Scourge when it comes to long range. I feel like they do the same amount of damage, but we're gonna find out during the review that will come. So once again, guys, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, lots of new reviews and stuff is coming up for you guys here, and yeah. So here you see we just lost the resistance. Now I'm immediately taking a ton of damage, right? From these two robots with tridents over there and everybody else. I'm taking lots of damage right here the moment I land. You only resistant during your flight, and after that you only have a very limited amount of HP and you aren't even very fast. In fact, and that's really crazy, you're gonna see this later, I think, that, or not sure if you see it, I noticed this while I was recording and playing, the Fury actually walks the same speed as the Ao Guang did. Yeah, it was the same speed. I wasn't able to walk past the Fury that was walking in front of me on Canyon before, and I noticed that the Ao Guang isn't really that fast. Also during flight, it's fast, but it's slower than the Ao Chin, right? Keep that in mind as well. But of course the Ao Chin, the Ao Chun. I'm meaning the Ao Chun, the big one with the two heavy weapons, sorry. Still getting a little bit confused with that. What I was gonna say is that the Ao Chun can be countered by Quantum Radar module, right? You can counter it and then you can kill the Ao Chun in mid-air. You can't do that with the Ao Guang because resistance cannot be countered, right? So very important point right here to discuss. You need to keep that in mind. While one of those robots that is supposed to be the flagship and very powerful can be countered, the Ao Guang in mid-air can't be countered. There's nothing to avoid taking down the resistance other than waiting for him to land. And you probably noticed we meanwhile arrived in Free For All, right? This is, as I promised, I'm first going to give you a little bit of team gameplay with Beacon Rush, and now going into some Free For All battle. And I can tell you guys, this is quite a beast. It's not so easy to kill, and if you play it well, you can be very successful, mostly because you always have line of sight with your enemy when you want to, right? I mean, okay, they can hide behind like a kind of a rocket launcher platform thing there, but still, most of the time, when you want to attack somebody, you will find some line of sight for you, because you can just fly up and then you get them, right? And here I was, only thanks to Last Stand, I was able to survive this for a few longer seconds, but now I'm getting squished anyways by the Pursuer, but not before I take him down like 40-50%, and then I die. 144,000 health, as you see in the upper left corner. Mark II, level 12 max, no booster active, and here I'm getting all the 3 kills, by the way. That was really lucky. No boosters active, and like I said, no damage modules either. The modules I'm running is, you have 2 module slots. Passive is the damage module reactor level 6 for more damage output, and the other one is the Last Stand that I put on it. You guys made a vote in my recent video where I reviewed the Ao Chun, and I noticed I don't really have much of a chance, so I'm waiting for my resistance to kick back in, and here we go. Now, even though we have suffered so much damage, we're still able to do this here and get this guy when his Last Stand wears off. Yeah, you guys made a vote. You voted that you wanted to see Last Stand on these reviews. Most of you guys wanted to see it because obviously you guys are interested to see how these things look like when they're fully maxed, right? So because I guess this is the question that everybody is asking themselves, are these robots worth it? And the question is not, are they worth it on level 1? The question is, are they worth it to get the robot and start the whole upgrading process? This is going to take a while. It requires a lot of resources. So I understand you guys probably want to see, is it really worth going for it, right? Is it worth putting all that effort in and going for this? Here, once again, I got a kill on the Inquisitor right there, even though I hadn't even fired at him. It's because somehow the damage I done with the Scourge was saved in some kind of buffer, and the next thing I get in target, boom, immediately receives the damage. See, boop, I didn't even shoot him. In fact, I had to retarget after the first guy died. I should have retargeting the problem, and somehow the Inquisitor dies. Somehow there is a way to store damage in a damage buffer somewhere, and then boom, unleash it all at once somewhere. There's some kind of weird problem, and I think this came in with the modules. I haven't noticed that problem before modules came in, so must have something to do with that. But anyways, right now I'm not activating here the damage resistance because I don't need to, right? I would get slightly more damage output because of the rockets that I would fire at the same time, but other than a little bit more damage output, you don't really have a reason to use the flight unless you're being shot at, right? As soon as you're being shot at, this is when you want to use the flight, because this is when you would need the resistance to stop the damage from coming in so bad. Alright. Okay, so is it going to be worth it? I guess this is the question you guys have in mind, and it's hard to decide. One thing is for sure, the Ares is currently the monster beast. It's like one of the things you just can't beat. The Ares, when it has lockdown and it has last stand and it's well leveled, there is like nothing you can do about this robot. It will just squish you like an ant. And there's no skill required on the other people, or very little skill, let's say, like that, required to make it work, right? The Ao Guang requires some knowing when to use things, knowing when to and how to use things, but it's also very powerful and it's very tanky, and you can kind of just brainlessly rush someone to death with a flight. So there is also not that much you need to do right with this, but more than an Ares, for example. But if you guys would ask me, would you rather have me go for the Ares or for the Ao Guang? I would say Ares. And the Ao Chun also, I guess the Ares is also better there, because you can counter the Ao Chun. But there is very little you can counter the Ares. There is actually no way to counter it at all, other than waiting for it to use its shield and then destroy it, right? But it has a very short cooldown as well. Here I'm seeing his last stand, so I wait a few seconds and then resume fire. And even Mercuries, we're going to see a little bit of a one-on-one here also with Mercuries, which are very powerful, still very worth getting a Mercury for sure. But the Ao Guang is able to counter the Mercury at least when you use the Quantum Radar module. The problem is, and that's something you're probably going to see here, and that's something that the Calamity has as well, when you're using Scourge or Calamity, and you want to hit or target or, I don't know, successfully defeat a Spectre or Inquisitor or Mercury, you will probably need Quantum Radar module, and you'll end up using it every time you fight them. And since they are literally half the enemy robots you'll encounter on the battlefield, it's like you can only work this setup when you use Quantum Radar module all the time, right? And that's a disadvantage. That's something that I don't like about the Scourge, Calamity, and Spark. With Tarans, you don't have this lock-on. You can afford not to use the Quantum Radar and then engage as soon as the stealth is gone, right? With these weapons, you will have these additional seconds. So here's the Mercury one-on-one as promised, activating Quantum Radar in advance, activating and using his last stand of level 6, by the way, also here as soon as possible, and then after my landing, taking him out, and he did not really stand much of a chance right there. And however, it is because I used the Quantum Radar module, right? 1.4 million damage here, 14 kills, free for all. Let's jump into another match here on Castle. Is it Castle? I think it is Castle, yeah. So once again, here activating Quantum Radar module because I know exactly what's going to happen the moment I start firing. Now I would have lost my lock-on, and that would have been my damage opportunity. I'm getting shot at now, so I activate the flight. Of course, he's going to trigger his stealth now. And now everybody in front of me has stealth, so there's nothing I can target and already establish a lock-on somewhere. So I have to literally start locking on the moment that the enemy is coming out of it, these stealth modes. So we've gotten this guy, and this guy we're down, we have 2 kills. Not too crazy. There's a Pursuer coming in from behind, already using stealth. So all I gotta do is kind of wait for his stealth to disappear. Very, very unwise, by the way. Don't use your Mercury the way, the Pursuer, don't use your Pursuer how he did. He used the Pursuer stealth ability to just get to me faster. But as you saw right there, he should have really kept his stealth. I would have had Quantum Radar, which still counters it, obviously, but it's still smarter to keep your stealth every time as long as you don't get shot at, and only when you really need the stealth, then you use it, right? Another Mercury bites the dust, but I'm now getting destroyed because I've suffered a lot of damage and my resistance is now done. Am I getting destroyed? Oh, he got this guy now, okay. And now he gets me, I recall. from editing the video, I remember what happened here. When there's so many situations, you can easily lose track of what happened where and what there. So here I want to show you corner shooting. The Ao Guang is a very good robot at corner shooting because you have these two medium weapons to the right. The setup is similar to an Hize. So the Hize is very good at corner shooting to the left with one weapon, but even better to the right because you can corner shoot with two weapons. And that's something I've shown you here with the Ao Guang right there. With these two Scourges to the right, getting this Hize without allowing him to any chance to do something about it, right? So, of course, losing the lock-on is immediately because the guy just activated his stealth. I'm activating a Quantum Radar module because I want to focus the Pursuer first, because he's got lower HP. Now, this guy wants to hide, so all I gotta do is make sure I fly over to him and lose my altitude towards him, right? You can, and that's very important to mention, guys, you can trigger your landing. If you fly up and you notice that you're out of range and every enemy is shooting you, you can also trigger the ability again to land, right? That will make you land sooner. That will also make your resistance deactivated, right? You only have it in mid-air, so even if you activate the ability and deactivate it, you also deactivate your resistance at the same time. So that makes it, you can't just activate flight, deactivate flight, and keep the resistance. It's gone then, right? So that's one thing you need to keep in mind. And but you can trigger the landing if for some reason your flight doesn't help you and you're taking damage for no reason, then you can still deactivate the flight and make sure you land. Maybe also if you're flying over a beacon too high, because you started from a high point, and then you fly over a beacon, now you can't capture it because you're too high up, then you can trigger the landing if you will. I'm doing this right here now, do I? No, I'm not, okay. And one more thing, the flight height. You cannot steer higher or lower. What you can do, however, is influence how high you fly by how high you start, right? Right now you see me from a higher position. That means when I now start flying, I will be much higher than if I had started flying down where he is, right? So this is still how you can influence the height of your flight. And see now how high up I am, activating Quantum Radar module here in advance, knowing that he's going to activate stealth, getting him before he, yeah, it was safe pretty much, okay? So yeah, this is, I guess, all these different things that I was able to show you here during this review. Like I said, I hope you guys have subscribed to the channel. And yeah, so usual outro. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment down below. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe, as brutal as a man can hit for more. Thanks for bearing with me. You guys are awesome as always. Manni-Gaming signing out. Bye-bye.